And here is a new moon video for Taurus. Taurus the bull, the earth sign of inner happiness. I use the Vedic zodiac in order to divine around the new moon cycles. And this one lasts from February 11th to March 13th. So this will apply to you if you are sidereal Taurus moon or Taurus rising. And if you are one of those signs in the sidereal zodiac, this will be happening in your 9th house. And this is the house of travel, wisdom, philosophy, higher education, law, religion, cross-cultural relations, people you might know from afar, learning, ethics, all things that we need right now. In this moment, I'm choosing you an animal card. I'm not going to take a leaper with this. I have a very specific way that I like to draw these. And this will tell us something about the energies, a further way to clarify. And we have some other ways to read Spirit's meaning here. From here, I will integrate 3 times for the goddess and choose the top card from the 3rd integration. The grouse. The spiral dance. This is one of the most mysterious cards in this deck for me. I have had this deck since probably 1995. Oh my goodness. And this card eludes me a little, except I was hiking recently, a couple of years ago, in Glacier National Park, and I got to actually follow a grouse, a pine grouse, at close proximity for a while. This card is a card of movement, and I like to think about it as appropriate action, effortless appropriate action. Like when you hit your flow and you hit your stride and you can just find the way forward without thinking. Like the most important thing is not thinking. Grouse are not very thoughtful creatures, but they are beautiful and they do move very well through the landscape. So beautiful card of going with the flow, and a great card for Taurus, I think, because it's kind of Earth's flow, more the natural rhythm, like we're trying to do with this channel, right? With the lunar rhythm. The opposite of this is another one that's a little tricky for me. You got both my tricky cards here. I have interpretations for them, but they go a little off the beaten track and into my personal experience. Maybe you'll like that. Opossum, when threatened, plays dead. And this sort of play acting, this sort of distraction is so thorough with this animal that they even emit a musk that makes them smell dead to predators. So predators can get very close to them and they can still maintain their facade. This is not natural flow, right? This is fear. And this is the inaction that comes from fear. The lack of ability to move forward or defend oneself or fight. This is not fleeing, but basically vacating the premises. Like denial, I think, is a very important word for this one too, or at least that's what it means to me. Maybe it conjures a whole other bunch of meanings for you, and those are equally valid. We just want to go ahead and keep this here as a point of reference for us. And now we're going to do a Celtic cross spread, the most traditional tarot reading I have learned from the Rider WAITE. I'm looking for a signifier here, something that the cards recognize as your energy, and that's just whoever's watching. And the Page of Wands has come up for us. This is the most creative of the young energy of the tarot deck. This is discovery, exploration, excitement, a new beginning. And this is the embodiment of that. What covers you in this spread is the Page of Swords. Again, very young energy here, but a little bit more thoughtful, a little bit more studious, and a little bit sneakier to a certain degree. This particular page is about thinking and strategy. I almost said strategery, and difficult choices. Kind of indecision and stalemate that might have something to do with the fact that you're embarking on something new and exciting. What's really interesting about doing these readings is how much I learn about myself while I do them, and that's just kind of an internal note to me. I hope that you enjoy them. What crosses you this time, my goodness, is the very Queen of Decisions. She cuts right through. The Queen of Swords is not playing. She's perceptive in complexity. She's able to cut through any perfidy, any fabrication that may face her and find the truth for her. She's clear. She's introverted. She's introspecting, and she knows her own truth, right? The truth that lines up with the appropriate action, the right action, the effortless right action that comes from being aligned and attuned with the earth. She sits in the clouds, so her realm is about thoughts. So right thought, right words, right deeds are crossing you right now. There may be a real tendency or a need to lie, to not tell the truth, and that may be a bit of an obstacle for you at this time. We're all kind of hiding something in some way. It's not a great sin, but moving toward honesty is much more rewarding. It's a much more realistic life, and it is much more in tune with what the planetary motion has in mind for us as we evolve here on planet Earth. Where you're headed, looks like you've got some difficulty, some disappointment, but I like the water in it. And I'm looking at that ruin up in the corner. I think an old structure may be falling for you here. That's my more intuitive reading of it. I know a lot of people look at this card as loss and grief and disappointment, but sometimes when foundations or structures fall in this way, it's toward our benefit, and we may not initially see it. So I would keep a careful, curious, young eye on the movement that you see in this next lunar cycle. I would be a little bit circumspect about it, and I would think, good luck, bad luck, who knows, right? I've got 2 cups sitting here behind me and something on the horizon there. It's an aqueduct. It's a movement forward. It's a movement out of here. I always like to pay attention to the water in these cards because it indicates, even though you may be here at this moment, this isn't the end of the story. So there's a bit of disappointment there, but there's still 2 cups standing. And once you turn away from the grief and you turn toward the flowing movement into the east, which is very significant spiritually, then you may find a whole new set of circumstances that you had forgotten or you had left behind in some way. That's a possible reading of that. Beautiful card. The foundation of your reading is the new beginning in creativity. In Pentacles. And Pentacles represent material worlds. The security and nature, I guess, is why I keep thinking of creative, because I love this little scene down here in the bottom with the far distant mountains in the back, and there's a way through there. There's a way forward that's prosperous. There's a way out of the disappointment, if only you can retain your excitement, your mental acuity, and not get caught up in the lies of this moment. There's a lot of unreality in our reality at this moment. We seem to have abandoned truth in a lot of ways. Your truth, your right movement will carry you through to a new beginning, perhaps, in matter, in a new venture, a new business, maybe an opportunity will come for you here. That's exciting foundational representation, though. This is a great symbol for moving forward. You're leaving behind, very interesting. This is also true for Aries. You're leaving behind deceit, trickery, perhaps a form of strategery, a plan that won't work. I just said strategery again. That's twice in this reading, and I know that's not how you say strategy. At any rate, you're moving away from this. He's stealing a whole bunch of swords from an enemy camp, or I don't know, it could be his camp as well. And he's moving off in a sneaky sort of way. So you're leaving that behind you and you're moving toward a reckoning. The moon, for me, is a very watery card. This is a major arcana card. And so this will probably represent a very large change in your life in the future. You're moving toward your intuition in a very important way, not following the strategy of the swords. And the swords maybe are causing you to lie because the thoughts in your head are not leading you in the right direction. The disappointment in your heart is keeping you from seeing what lies to the east of you, what lies in your spiritual world. And this is a card that represents the unconscious, the spiritual, and this beautiful illusory intuition that we don't give enough credit to as truth, but it is one of the truths of right action in the world. And when we don't allow ourselves enough experience, see how this little, they say it's a crab, but that looks like a lobster to me. And I'm very specific about my crustaceans. The path for him is difficult. It's between two dogs. That is so symbolic for me right now. And it's going to be hard for him to get through, but he has his natural armor and he's heading toward the way between the two pillars, the way between two barriers that may have prevented you from getting to the real work, the authentic movement forward, the authentic flow of your life. Because, maybe you were caught up in these thoughts. Where you are right now is caught up in your thoughts. That's very significantly your own mental prison. The good thing about this card, because it's so starkly obvious, I don't think I need to say too much about it. She's surrounded by her own thoughts. She's bound by her own thoughts. She's blinded by her own thoughts. Nothing's really holding any of that in place. Those swords are not in her body. She is not very tightly bound. I mean, it looks like she could just shirk that whole network of ropes right off and take off the blindfold and see what her appropriate action is. But her thoughts are keeping her from doing that. It can be imprisonment and entrapment, plain and simple, and that may be the case for you too. But it could also be a form of self-imprisonment, a way of your thoughts blocking your forward momentum, keeping you from getting into your effective and effortless action because you're frozen in your own thoughts and playing dead there, not letting anyone into your mental dungeon. the squalid apartment of your thoughts. All around you is isolation, but this is a fruitful one. This is a major arcana card, and this is keeping to yourself and keeping your thoughts to yourself, but not exactly in this way. It's a little bit different in the sense that you have a guiding star there. You have an illumination before you that's trying to bring you into a new Eastern spiritual, unconscious, intuitive future. This is a self-referenced being who has made himself great over the landscape. Can you see how big he is in this card? Those mountains are dwarfed by him. He's looking down on creation because he has that bird's eye view. He has the ability to move correctly because he can see it from a great distance. It's a beautiful card surrounding you. That's an energy surrounding you in some way. Could be in your community, could be in the external world, but it really easily could be within you. Something that you haven't given a whole lot of credence to yet because you're kind of bound in these thoughts. Your hopes and fears, beautiful card. This was a signifier for Aries today, is the King of Wands. This is a countryman, usually married. This person has attained the mastery of leadership. He's visionary. He can overcome these challenges. He's not stopped by swords. You see how our little thief is looking back toward him as well? It's very interesting how all of the swords face a wands person of equal or greater stature in this reading. I think it's kind of a beautiful arrival that you hope to come to, the person that you hope to be, a visionary, someone who can, as a small armored creature, find its way through larger mammals and confusion and understand a different way of being, a different way of journeying upon the earth. The outcome card for this reading is the King of Swords, mastery of those thoughts. This is beautiful. He is an amazing player in this reading for you. I see the King of Swords as discipline, mental discipline, leading you toward absolute truth and justice for yourself. Because the real prisoner here is you, right? These thoughts are keeping you prisoner. These swords are policing your creativity. It looks to me like your heart is suffering because your creativity is blocked by too much thought, overthinking it, imprisoning thoughts. Within you or around you, there's this beautiful star of wisdom. It's beyond this bit of difficulty that you seem to have to cross through if you're going to get to the type of hopeful vision you have for your own future. This is a hopeful vision. That's a visionary man. He's greater than these lies, greater than these spies, greater than imprisonment of any kind. You master this. You absolutely master your self-imprisonment. Excuse me, I'm sorry. And you find your way emotionally forward into right action through hard work and the mastery of your craft. This is a perfect, a perfect card for this stellium that is occurring in the sidereal Capricorn. It's in the tropical Aquarius, but if you look at it through the lens of the sidereal zodiac, it makes more sense because Saturn requires us hard work, and Saturn in his own sign means we're going to have to work at this doubly hard. the difference in this card is that this work is enjoyable to you and you have some mastery over it. There's a lot of mastery in this spread. There's a lot of overcoming, and there's a lot of wisdom. Beautiful. Let's take one more set of opposites here from the Golden Thread Tarot, just because I absolutely love touching this deck. I love to be near this deck. This is available on Labyrinthos. It's made out of recycled plastic. It is gorgeous. And we'll take 3 integrations again for the goddess. What a beautiful reading. Really a lot of meaning there. I hope it is as productive and helpful for you as it is for me, because I get a lot out of that. The 2 of Cups. I love this card. It's adorable. Look at them bunnies. They're adorable. And I love this symbol here. This and the spiral dance, that's kind of similar to me in the sense that you're meeting yourself here on a level that you haven't been able to before. And it's a happier level. It's more contented. It's these 2 cups that's going to really make the difference in your journey forward. You got to get yourself into alignment. You got to get through this mental prison. You got to get some discipline and control over your thoughts. And I am saying that because I need to hear it. What is at the base of your card is the Miser card, the 4 of Pentacles. Too much materialist desire seems to be able to unhinge and upset this toehold that you have with the 2s, with a partnership of some kind, maybe a partnership in work. This looks like what it could possibly be to me. Very interesting read, Taurus. Let me know how this worked for you. And in the comments section, if you'll let me know if you'd like me to do an I Ching reading. It will be a little bit more difficult to put on video, but if you guys think you'd like to have it, I would like to do it, and I would like to try. I don't know how I'm going to, but let me know if you think you would like that. It's one of the world's oldest oracles. I've been using it, oh my goodness, since probably 2008, if not before then. And it really comes up with some beautiful stuff. So we'll leave this last page for you. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much for letting me bring this message through me to us. It's so helpful. Thank you.